for sponsoring the KRIM Community Spotlight Program. Good morning, everyone. Chris Higgins in the studio, filling in for Randy Roberson. Once again, he is down on the other side of the creek in Tonto Basin. A lot of rain, a lot of moisture, so that creek keeps rising, but that's okay because, hey, Rock and Ron and I are here, so it works out. And in the studio with me today, I have two guests that are part of a group that was recently formed, Payson Supports Healthcare Workers. And I have Pastor Donovan Christian and Sarah Lee. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Chris.
How are you both doing?
Doing great.
Hey, doing good. That is good. Enjoying the wet weather, and I ask everyone, do you want snow or no snow?
I'd say snow, but would like it to melt quickly.
Snow with conditions.
Yes, definitely.
Okay,
conditions.
snow with conditions. Yeah. Okay, and how about you, Sarah?
We have 3 little kids, so we need some snow. They've been begging us for some snow.
Sarah's like, please, for my sanity. They want to get outside and play in the snow.
It's not as fun playing in mud.
Playing in the mud.
Cold mud.
No, and then the cleanup isn't as fun either.
Right.
So, no, okay, so 2 for snow. I know that's not everyone's kind of feelings, but hey, it's all good. So this morning we're going to talk about, again, a group that you both are heavily involved in, and I'm sure there's others that have come together. And it's, again, Payson Supports Healthcare Workers, and that's the Facebook page, and it's a group. And can you tell us, Donovan, kind of what this group, why it was formed?
Sure. Yeah, it's a new group.
Yeah.
And when I say new, like 2.5 weeks old. So I got a call a couple of weeks ago on I think it was a Tuesday morning from a local doctor who said, and I've been talking quite a bit over the last couple of years with doctors, nurses, healthcare workers. Many of those conversations are counseling. Some of them are obviously, because I'm a pastor, prayer and support, and so I've watched for a while the discouragement and the fatigue, and it's been hard. I've there's some who clinically have been diagnosed with PTSD, and it's been a challenge. So I got a call a couple of weeks ago on a Tuesday morning from a doctor who said, Donovan, we need help. We just had a meeting last night with kind of the state hospital people, and the forecast for the next several weeks is grim. And this doctor said that when they were on a Zoom call and could see everybody's faces who were part of the meeting, and when the forecast was given out and the prediction was being made for what the hospital conditions were going to be like, the doctor said you could see kind of a collective despair fall on people's faces, because they already feel like they're stretched, they're already at the end of whatever they had capacity wise, and then there's a forecast that it's going to get worse. And so we know they've been in a challenging situation for some time, but we thought, hey, why not now? We know there's a need, and so we're gonna do what we can. So brainstorming kind of went into effect. We had I said, well, here's all the various things that we could do, and maybe we could roll it out after the holidays. And the doctor that I said to, I said, can we wait till after Christmas and New Year's to begin something? When can we start then? And the doctor said we needed this yesterday. And so we thought, okay, what can we do in the meantime, in the interim, to help out? And so the suggestion was made by some hospital staff, Christmas caroling, and that was phase 1 of 2 phases. But that's the reason why we thought we need to do something.
Okay, and so you did a group of residents actually caroled. Was it for 3 days before
Sunday
Christmas?
through
4 days?
Wednesday, so 4 days, until the weather made it not good.
Yes.
And it was a great time. We had anywhere from 30 to 60 people show up, and kids and seniors and everything in between, and people brought jingle bells, and it was It was meaning, and I should probably let Sarah give some stories of
Yeah.
what transpired during that. But it was we stood outside one of the entrances where hospital workers come in at shift change, and it was beautiful to see a little bit of hope, which was the goal.
Yeah.
A little bit of, hey, we see you, we care about you, we're aware, and there were plenty of tears and expressions of. And Sarah, I don't know if you wanted to share some of the things that were.
Yeah, we had a lot of feedback from the various workers, and this was nurses and respiratory therapists and other hospital staff that are not specifically caregivers, and so many of them said thank you in a million different ways. Somebody posted on one of our Facebook threads and said, "This is seriously the sweetest thing ever. I got to work tonight and everyone was singing and clapping and thanking us for what we do, and it brought tears to our eyes. Thank you so much." And while we were out there doing carols, there was one window where the nurses just kept coming and sitting over there and watching and opening the windows and saying thank you. And it was honestly, it was encouraging. My brother is an ICU doc in a different city, and he said, man, I wish that they were doing this out in front. If I came off shift to this, I would come and join them, and it would be the sweetest thing. It would be so encouraging because they just feel forgotten. They feel, there's definitely because so much of this has become political. There's a whole lot of people that feel like they aren't appreciated and aren't recognized for the incredible extra lengths that they're going to.
All of their efforts.
Yeah.
And again, I forgot to mention, but as always, we're streaming on the KRIM FM Facebook page, also on our YouTube channel and Twitter feed today for the first time. So if you're a participant, if you were a participant, or if you were a healthcare worker that got to enjoy and hear some of the caroling and see that, it would be great for someone to comment and let us know their thoughts. Whether you were the caroler or being caroled to, and it's so true. It reminds me, our town is so supportive of people. And I remember when the police departments were across the country were really under fire, and defund, and you had residents that held signs, in front of the police department. We love our police officers, and we love our cops, and really showing them support. We've seen it for our firefighters, and we've seen it for different groups in town, but never, for healthcare workers, and maybe little bits here and there, but. I think during this time, Donovan, as you said, there are some that really, really need that, and for you guys and for others in the community to come together and show them that support.
Yeah, I would say they desperately need that. If you think about, the extent to which they've given and the degree to which they've given, there's been 173 COVID deaths in our community, and so if you're a nurse and day in, day out, you're caring for people who hour after hour you're going through your shift and you're building a relationship and you are getting to know a person, and the job of a nurse in the ICU is to save the patient. And if you go into work and you work tirelessly, if you're a doctor or if you're a respiratory technician or whoever you are, whatever your job is, and you do that day in, day out, and you invest in trying to help a patient get well and they don't get well, that has a massive effect on your emotional well-being, your mental state, your spiritual well-being. Everything about you physiologically is being affected by that. And the environment, because this project isn't just for doctors and nurses, it's for people that go in and clean the rooms. The environment that they're in it's a high risk environment, and so even if you're changing sheets or sanitizing equipment, it's been more stressful than a lot of occupations have been.
Even if you're working in the kitchen in the hospital, because we've had Frank in, and Frank, the kitchen manager, culinary manager there at the hospital, and his staff, and the things that they've been doing for not only the patients there, but for the staff. Being there with meals, and there's a lady there that bakes cookies. And for one of the patients, he asked for this, Santa cookie, or this special,
That's
cookie
great.
that is beautiful, and it was given to him, and a few hours later he passed.
Right.
But to be able to be there in those last hours, it's really everyone in that facility, like you said. It's everyone working as a team, and then members of the community also coming together to show their support and to encourage.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So that was one of the events. So Sarah, what are some events that are going to be happening or that are planned?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So Donovan mentioned that the caroling was phase one,
Mm-hmm.
and a big part of that was, to be able to show all the healthcare workers that we love you, we recognize you, we haven't forgotten you, and also to create that critical mass to say, hey, as a community, we're doing this. We're here, pay attention. And so by gathering folks to join this Facebook group, it allows us to make them aware of phase two, which is going to be meeting practical needs for these healthcare workers. And a big part of that is the emotional needs, of saying we're here for you. And we want to care for you, just like we would care for, a friend who is sick, or, a family who has a new baby and needs some meals, or whatever it might be. So we're collecting ideas from healthcare workers, from hospital staff, of what would you love. So for those of you guys that don't know, a lot of these nurses work a 12-hour plus shift, and because they have more patients than they're able to care for,
Yes.
a lot of them don't have time to eat, and legitimately they don't have time to walk into the break room and eat the yogurt that they brought.
Yeah.
So we're going to do things like bringing veggie trays, healthy food, not donuts, not pizza. They've had a lot of that, but things that can actually fuel them and sustain them. So fresh veggies, fresh fruit, nuts that they can grab from the nurse's station and walk to their next patient, so that they can, even the littlest bit of, hey, we're thinking about you and we care about you. And then doing other things like, free car washes, certain businesses are going to be chipping into to have gift cards available, much like how we did it for firefighters when they were, during the summer months. There are different businesses that are going to be having basically cards that you can go in and say, hey, I want to put $20 towards, the healthcare workers. So if a healthcare worker comes in, they can get free coffee or whatever it might be. So there's going to be a bunch of different ways that we're going to be serving them. And so right now we're in the process of basically talking to all these healthcare workers and saying, what is it that you would appreciate? What is it that you need? And then from there, we're going to be using this Facebook page to, in an organized fashion, say, hey, do you want to adopt the, the ICU med surge desk and bring them some healthy snacks or whatever this week? And so people can adopt a different department, a different week, things like that. They can put funds into things. We're looking into potentially funding counseling for folks. So the hospital offers it, and it's a great service. And some people, for understandably a million different reasons, they want something that's not related to their work, where they can just go off site and do that.
Where there's a separation there. And just so people know, again, the Facebook group is Payson Supports Healthcare Workers. And that is a group that you join, and that's approved. So when you click join, you'll be notified, okay, it's waiting approval, but then you'll be approved, to be in that group. What else, if somebody is really, really anxious and wants to help out, what's the best way to go about that?
If they can go to that Facebook page, the Payson Supports Healthcare Workers, and say, hey, I'm a business owner and I'm in for this, that'd be a great way to do that. We have to we have to coordinate, because obviously it's a private business, and so, for example, you can't just make cookies and bring them. That's you can't do that. So we're trying to coordinate this. But if you're a business owner that, let's say you're a local restaurant and you want to donate gift cards, or if you, like Sarah said, the Bubbles on Bonita folks are gonna do free car washes.
Yeah.
So if you're a business owner and you want to do something, it could be a donation. It could be providing services, good services. We have little kids that are going to be making signs, and we'll have banners inside and out, cards, personal cards. We might do like an adopt a worker, or Sarah said like a group within the hospital. So right now we're collecting, we're gathering ideas, coordinating all those ideas with the hospital to make sure that they fit. But now's the time where we need to essentially know who's in, who can do what, who's ready to provide something, and then we'll start kind of planning on how to implement all of that soon.
So if you are a business owner and you're listening, or a manager, and this is something that you would like to propose, to have your business participate in, again, just as Donovan said, you go to the Payson Supports Healthcare Workers Facebook group, and you can send a message or contact Donovan or Sarah to let them know you'd like to do that. Also, just residents, any resident
Of course.
could help out as well, correct, Sarah?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of ways to do that. We've, right now, I'm basically finding out what the requirements are for things. If you want to bring food to the hospital, things like that. Obviously, there's a lot of, because of COVID, there are a ton of protocols that we need to work through.
Yes.
And so what would be most helpful is to join that page and say, I'm in. Even if you don't know what you can do, say I want to do something. Then let us know, and we're gonna start having. It's gonna be real simple. We're gonna basically have a spreadsheet, sign-ups, things like that, where you can say I can do this, I can do this. Not everybody can do everything, but we can all do something. And like Donovan said, it might be something as simple as a card. And guys, that matters so much. To have somebody say, hey. You cared for my father when he was in the hospital, and I cannot thank you enough for saving his life, for giving of your mental and physical energy to serve my family. It meant the world. So even notes, you can put them on the Facebook page and we can pass it along, or you can write a note. We're going to have a place where you can bring all those to, so that we can just start to collect them and bring them to the folks that need to hear it.
And I know it's already a case where probably a lot of people out there and people listening are already praying for our healthcare workers, but that's a big one, guys. If just in your daily prayers or just throughout the day, if you think about it, just say a prayer for our healthcare workers and just everything that they are going through. Just that they can be, given the strength, the encouragement to continue on, because to do that day in and day out, it, as Donovan you said, wears on people. So if we're lifting them up in our prayers, that is makes a big difference as well.
Yeah, when we were out caroling, there was one of the nurses was walking in at the beginning of her shift, and the woman next to me was just quietly, she was praying over this woman, and it was so moving to see her, that this person was specifically being prayed for as she was walking into that shift, and who knows what she was going to face. But certainly she was going to face things that, we're not built for death. We're not built to watch that day in and day out, and so that we would be able to support them in that. And so that is a very practical way that we can do that. And so we'll have, like Donovan said, we're going to have, we want to make sure that things are confidential and whatnot, but for those healthcare workers that want to be prayed for by name, we'll be able to provide that for them as well.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. So again, the website, or the the group, Facebook group, is Payson Supports Healthcare Workers, and again, talking with Pastor Donovan Christian and Sarah Lee. And is there, you mentioned Bubbles on Bonita, and Kurt and Brett, great guys. So they're sponsors here at KRIM. Are there other businesces that maybe you want to mention or recognize that have come forward already and said, hey,
not yet that I know of. Oh, there is?
No.
Oh,
I'm agreeing.
So we would, this is so new, and it just launched. And so if there's a business, then then by all means. I think, and let me just pause for a second, yes, this would work.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody wanted to do a cash donation and then they wanted a charitable contribution,
Mm-hmm.
they could give it to Expedition Church and put a memo on there,
Mm-hmm.
hospital support or something like that.
Healthcare support or whatever.
Yeah, so if you want to write a fat check to so there's financial things, then write the check to Expedition Church, and then
Mhm.
that way you get the charitable contribution
Mhm.
and you can help the hospital workers.
Mhm.
So if a business wanted to do a write-off or something like that.
Yeah. And again, what that could be put towards, things that were mentioned, gift cards
Yes.
for the workers. Also, you said you were looking at counseling and covering counseling that's outside of the hospital. So that way, there is that separation and maybe
we
a
have
higher
two.
comfort.
We have two local. One's a psychiatrist,
Mhm.
and another one is a licensed counselor who
Mhm.
are on board and ready to go. And one of them has already been doing some PTSD work,
Mhm.
and it's been extremely beneficial. So those therapists are fantastic, and they're in the community, so they're ready and willing to go.
Mhm. Well, and I would like to thank everyone that participated in the caroling. I mean,
It
that
was great.
yeah.
We had some people that came out every night. We had
Wow.
we called them
That's good.
4 Pete's, and we
Four
had
Pete's.
three Pete's, and not only did they carol, but every time a hospital worker walked by, they would get cheered for and applauded, and great affirming words. We appreciate you, and it was just a great time.
And I know you've emphasized this on the Facebook group. It's Payson Supports Healthcare Workers. You've emphasized this, and I want to emphasize it as well. This is all about encouraging and supporting, showing support for our healthcare workers.
Absolutely.
Period. It's not about anything else, your views or anything. It's, hey, we appreciate all of our healthcare workers, everyone associated with the hospital, with clinics, anyone that has been part of, the group that has been serving this community when we're sick.
Yeah.
Yes, we are staying out of politics. We're staying out of opinions. This is apolitical, and we can actually encourage people without having to delve into the quagmire of all the other issues.
So I'll say it so you don't have to. I'll say it, if you can't do that, if you can't separate that, this group isn't for you.
Exactly.
There's other things that you could be involved with and doing, but this group
There's other groups you can make miserable.
There's plenty of groups out there, and you can find them, that where you can just, mainly focus on your views, opinions, and everything else.
Yes.
This is to encourage and to support our healthcare workers, just show them that they are loved, that we care about them, appreciate what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's such a big thing, and like you said, Sarah, it's showing that appreciation through actions, through the cards, through gift cards, through the car washes, through the meals, the snacks, whatever it is, standing outside, clapping, cheering, praying for them, and they see that. It makes a big difference.
They need to be seen. They need to know that they're cared for. They need to know that they're not alone in this. And we know the pandemic has been hard on a lot of people, and there's lots of people that need some TLC, but we want to focus on these guys for right now.
Yeah, and we're definitely not, this isn't to the exclusion of anybody else, but we really want to remind them that we recognize that this is a mess, right? Yeah. And the truth is, for many of these healthcare workers, they're living something super unique, because a lot of us go about our day and we kind of forget about COVID.
Yeah.
But they don't have the opportunity to forget about it, and they have to, pick themselves up and go back to work every day. And, the amount of time that it takes to put on all of the protective gear, and for those that are cleaning the rooms, it takes 2 hours to clean one room, and they're in there, and it's, they're exposed to all of this. And most of us don't experience that on a daily basis. And so to remember, like, hey, we understand that just because we're not living the same reality that you're living, we haven't forgotten about you. And in fact, we recognize that y'all are heroes. And the fact that, they go back in there day in and day out, and they continue to do it is huge.
It certainly is. Again, this is Payson Supports Healthcare Workers Facebook group, and not just a Facebook group, but a group of residents that you can be a part of. If you want to join in and show your appreciation and support for our healthcare workers in Rim Country and Payson, then go to that Facebook page, join, and find out how you can help, how you can be a part of it.
Everybody can do something.
There you go.
It's that kind of project. Everybody has a role to play, and and we're just excited to see how that's all gonna unfold.
Well, thank you so much, guys, for
Thank you,
coming in.
Chris.
Thanks for
And
having us.
oh yeah, and we'll definitely keep people informed as well through our Facebook page, but also on the air of different activities, events, things that are coming up. And it would be great to, maybe next month or sometime have you guys back
Perfect.
in to
Yeah,
give an
love that.
update and say, hey, we've done this, and this, and it would be really cool.
Excellent.
All right. So
Thank you.
Thank you again, and thank you everyone for listening. And again, big thank you to Desert Financial Credit Union for sponsoring the KRIM Community Spotlight Program. It's time now for our local weather, brought to you by the National Weather Service.
Thank you, National Weather Service.
Yes, yes,
for doing
yes,
this.
yeah. Oh, you're so
Appreciate
welcome. And thank you guys. Here we go. We'll see.